Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome back to Transport Fever 2. Today we start a new series within this game where we're going to be doing a free build with basically unlimited money, and we're going to build a beautiful looking train line in Raptoria. It's good to see everybody back. I wanted to see exactly everything that this game had to offer, so we're going to pick a random time in history. We're going to build a new map and take a look at some of the map making features that are randomly generated and get ourselves started on building a new empire of transit, that being a railroad, a trucking company, airlines, and even shipping as well. So if you are excited for Transport Fever 2, make sure you click or tap that like button and show your support. Glory to Raptoria down below in the comments section, and feel more than welcome to lend me your suggestions. This is being played, of course, before the game is fully released, so anything available in the Steam Workshop and anything that might be updated in the future are not yet complete, and I've only completed like 2 or 3 missions of the campaign, so let's get started with a new free game mode and build to our heart's content. Now, of course, you can also do free build where you actually have money and need to make money in order to thrive, but I kind of wanted to do something unlimited just to see what the game's limitations were. Now, one thing that strikes me as concerning, or that I already dislike, although I hope it changes in the future, is, for example, in Temperate, you can't build on like a temperate island. Unfortunately, you can't do like a small island in Sweden or something like that or whatever. If you want to build an island, you have to go tropical. As you can see here, things change a little bit in terms of options. It does make sense that, dry climate is probably more inland America, but you should also be able to make a desert island too if you wanted. But anyway, there's temperate, dry, and tropical landscapes. You can adjust hilliness, water, and forest. Seems like with the dry template, you can adjust mesas, ridges, forest, and water there. And then on an island, you can basically do whatever you want that way. Well, I think I want to build on an island, so let's do that. We'll start on a medium-sized island, and we're going to go ahead and increase the amount of islands on this. We'll increase the amount of forest too, and we'll lower the size of the mainland just a little bit and see what it comes up with for us. All right, that's a little too many islands, so let's back up just a little bit more, and we'll try to also do, let's try to do one main island. Let's try to do some big O central island. Medium cities and medium industry looks good. This is very narrow to me. Let's try to reduce that one more time. I want just like 2 islands, but maybe one big, oh, this is actually still the same. All right. Maybe it's because we made a medium-sized one. Let's shrink it down to small. We'll try one more last try. There we go. That looks a little better. And then if I bring maps up to 2 islands, let's refresh that again. Give me another one. Okay, that looks pretty good for an island. All right, that is Raptoria, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the new island of Raptoria. All right, let's go ahead and play the... Actually, let's go to next. It says play map at the top. Oh, we can also modify where we want our vehicles to be from. So you can build on a tropical island, but with European vehicles, American vehicles, or Asian vehicles. That's really neat, actually. I want to try to do Asian vehicles because I want that Shinkansen, and I want to try to build in I want to do the 80s, but I don't think that Shinkansen existed until maybe the late 80s, early 90s. So let's try that, and then as for difficulty, I'm going to go into custom settings here and just turn her on unlimited, basically. So let's do sandbox mode. And well, what's the difference between sandbox and cost? Let's see. Change everything for free. Modifies vehicle availability. Vehicle becomes available. It's available for the rest of the game. Let's do that as well. So that way we can build with whatever we want. That's kind of cool. All right, let's go ahead and save our settings then. And let's go ahead and start. The difficulty doesn't matter then because money's unlimited, so it doesn't really matter. Now we can build airports between our islands, or we can connect everything via train. If you've ever been to Japan, or if you're a big fan of trains, or maybe not, the Japanese, just like the Chinese too, have developed a very high-speed interconnected train system that goes across the entire country. And I've been on it several times and think it's just the most wonderful thing in the world. It almost feels like you're on a plane, except you're on a train. And the great thing about that is you can go basically from the center of Tokyo to the center of Osaka and not have to deal with getting on and off of an airplane. It's really centralized, and so there's no real transit into town. You end up just being right inside the town. But in addition to that, the Japanese, just like the Chinese and the people in Canada and everywhere else, use airlines too to get between large destinations of their country. And so sometimes it's easier to go to different places of the world with different types of methods of transportation. Sometimes it's easier to take a boat. Sometimes it's easier to take a train or a plane. And this is interesting. We've already got roads connecting everything. Very cool. All right, we've got some mines around here. Looks like we've got Taipei. Looks like they've already given us auto names too. So since we chose Asia, it gave us some Asian names too, so that's kind of cool. We got some really beautiful landscapes here, and very beautiful birds flying over as well. All right, let's see. We don't need any tips for the time being. We're going to just survey the map a little bit. I'm a little disappointed that roads are already connected, but that's okay because we can always A, bulldoze them, or B, just build alongside them. But it also kind of represents a country that's already somewhat connected. Let's go ahead and pause time too. All right, so it looks like we've got an iron ore mine over here. We've got coal mines and even more iron. But I want to try to connect passengers. Looks like we have Istanbul, of course, right in the center. We can always rename these too, so it doesn't matter. No towns over here, though. What is this? This is a chemical plant that we can deliver to via ship, if we'd like. Karachi there, and Hanoi there. So we're going to rename all of our towns. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 cities here. Doesn't look like this is too big of a map as I'd hoped, which is good. I'd like everything to be on a centralized island. So we can get started with a high-speed train line between them, and then start doing industry and such later. So it looks like we've got 3 towns to connect to, and we'll try to do that ASAP. So let's go ahead and try to start with our main destination. I think this town over here should be our capital of Taipei. We'll rename this later, but look at these buildings, by the way. So the Asian buildings really do look like they're out of Japan, or Vietnam, or Korea. Certainly good looking. Yeah, these certainly don't look German. And I've been to Okinawa as well before, so some of these buildings look Okinawan. And also just generic, like commercial building too, for anywhere in Asia. So that looks good. Nice. Oh, and look at this beautiful little, like, waterfront here. Like a little resort or something at the end. Very nice. Okay, let's build ourselves a big O train station. And I think if we're going to build that, I'd like to do it maybe right here. Seems to be a perfect spot. And then we should be able to go through the mountain and make it look good. So let's see, first of all, what we have available for trains. Let's go ahead and plop down a depot just anywhere, just to take a peek. And let's buy some vehicles here. Good, we've got everything available. That's nice. Just like we wanted. Ah, there it is, the Shinkansen Zero series. Beautiful. Does it say anything? 1964 is when this one started. Interesting. I'm surprised not to see a more modern one in there as well. The first series, the Shinkansen High Speed Zero, was built in contrast to previous Japanese trains at standard gauge. They're designed for high speed and high acceleration. Yes, I like that train a lot, but I'm surprised to see that it's from 1964. But that's okay. Let's see what else we've got for trains here. Let's go for electric. Oh, that's interesting. The Shinkansen doesn't seem to appear here. Maybe it's got to be under a... Maybe it's considered to be a pass... Oh, it's multiple unit. That's why. I see. So we got the Shinkansen Zero series here. And I think... Does that come pre-designed? Yes. So it's already got 160 passenger capacity for 47 million with a top speed of 220 kilometers per hour. So that's what we'll be using then. So we'll go ahead and get rid of this depot and start building our main train station of Raptoria. So this is nice. This allows you to totally be creative to your heart's content. And that's really pleasing, because then you can worry about building stuff without really having to, you know, go bankrupt or whatnot. And you can make things as long as you want to. So that Shinkansen, what was the length of that? Was that 180 meters? Let's see what that was. That is a length of... let's see what it says here. So we need to keep that in mind when we purchase that. It seems to be 204 meters, so we need to make a train depot that it is at least 204 meters. So there's 240. So we're going to need to build a big O train depot here. Almost too big for the town. Let's go ahead and start bulldozing things out of the way. And we'll have to start building over this way, I think. So we can have our Shinkansen go along the line here to Istanbul, and then have a line go back this way. So we'll do a one and through train depot. Very good. Alright, we'll go ahead and build our station here then. And we can also modify the terrain around it. We can get some terrain editing tools to make things look a little more believable. So once we're done building things, we can kind of make things look a little more flattened and a little more believable. Okay, let's go ahead and start with our first train line. Now we'll have to be building with high-speed tracks to the Shinkansen, so we'll have to keep that in mind. And also we need to put down the electrical supply as well. So we'll go ahead and build that on our far terminal. Actually, maybe we should make it closer. Yeah, we'll make the train a lot closer. Okay, let's start building. So we want to try to... The train's maximum speed was, what, 260? Let's see what that was again. Check back and check our depot. So the train's maximum speed is 220 kilometers an hour. So we want to try to make sure that almost all points of the track permit high speed. It doesn't have to be everywhere, but it's better to have it at least be 220 whenever possible. Is it building any sort of elevation? Nope. Good. It's all flat on the ground. Oh, would you look at that? It tries to raise the track a little bit. That's kind of cool. And I think we can make it go higher if we want to. So we can check between the two to raise the height if we want to. And I wonder if we can build this out of concrete. It does allow us to switch the material. Yeah, cool. So we can actually build it out of concrete as well. So that looks really believable. Really, really cool. And I think I'm going to actually have that at this elevated height all the time now. So I'm going to try to put it up onto concrete. There we go. Now, typically the Japanese do that in order to build alongside mountains and whatnot. So I think what I'll do is I'll build it along the shoreline and then build the mountain out a little bit to make it look rougher terrain based on the landscape around us. That's going to look cool. Ooh. Uh-oh. Oh, it looks like the supports are actually above the water, but when you zoom in, it's actually on the water. I guess the shadows kind of make it look that way. Okay, let's continue at the same elevation. I just want you to not go down. There we go. I want it at the same elevation. There we go. Wow, would you look at that? Beautiful. Super expensive to build, but very profitable. Alright, so we're going to try to connect to Istanbul now. Let's try to go into the mountains. And 205 miles an hour. We don't want to slow down that much. We're going to try to keep it at 220. And since we know we're going to build in the 80s, even though it's 1990, we're still working with mostly 80s technology, since it's the start of a new century. The Japanese very much use a lot of these tunnels. Very cool. There's a long distance being a tunnel, but that's the way it works. Okay, it looks like it does not come out of the mountain just yet. There we go. Alright, the next thing I want to do is try to build a station that connects... I guess we'll have to have a through station here. Istanbul is going to be center. We'll have to rename some of these towns as well. Maybe to other dinosaurs or something. Alright, we'll build another station here then. And we'll build another 4 at 240 meters. So I guess we have to move the other way. Since we're working with a circle, we'll have to kind of make a... Well, we could make a actual line through here. Let's try. We did do it at the other town, so it might be a good idea here, too, to build a long line like this. Though that's out of the town. But we're building to make the town look cool with the train connected. Let's try to add it here. And eventually these towns will grow, and we can modify them as well, so we don't necessarily have to build within the limits of the town. There we go. Okay, now it is going to be the train to come around. There we go. Alright, so the train cuts through here. And of course we've got to avoid things like the oil wells and such. We've got to stay far away from them. So let's try to go back to building. There we go. Not too bad there's not a way we can just make it be concrete with a slight elevation. In order to get that concrete effect, we have to go pretty high up. Alright, coming into the station, let's try to keep things at least 100 kilometers. Let's see if we can bring it down now. I wonder if we can build the station elevated. I haven't tried to do that yet. So this turn may limit us from going our 100 kilometers per hour just because we're coming into the station, which is okay. Seems difficult to get a connection here. She doesn't want to snap in place, I see. It's also trying to come down as far as it can. That's okay. We can move the station up a little bit as well to accommodate the tracks. We really want to build the tracks and trains to accommodate the limitations of the train. So let's go ahead and try that again. Let's move our building over. It's a good thing about unlimited money, huh? Ah, we can build the road here and put the train tracks right in the middle. All right, back to tracks. The music, by the way, is so good. Super satisfying, this music. All right, seems like there's a collision here. The game is trying to attempt to connect it to the end of the platform and not the end of the tracks. That's not what we're trying to do here. And nor is it trying to connect here. Oh, there it goes. Ah, it won't connect a smooth angle here. All right, let's back the track up a little bit then. Let's try to do it in reverse. I guess we'll have our Shinkansen track here. Ah, much better. Although we are slowing down to 75. It will be, I guess, slow coming in and out of the town. That's still pretty speedy coming in and out of town. But that's the way it's going to be. I love seeing it connect up there like that. Okay, on to our next location. Probably Karachi next. And then finally, Hanoi. And we might be able to create a loop here, too, that goes over this way. Now, let's get back to our station, which is right here. Now, we'll move this road out of the way, and we'll have the road go over or under. The Shinkansen takes priority. So we'll move it. All right, we need to get up to Karachi now. Build a little elevation. Seems like we can't go up. Ah, there we go. Going to try to get above the Earth's surface a little bit to give us more maneuverability over other roads and other things, railroads and other trains. Okay, let's build our station in Karachi before we go any further. Very important station. And since we have ultimate control, we can just kindly ask these folks to be homeless. Glory to Raptor. All right, there we are. Perfect. And let's go ahead and build our train station here. And we can try to straighten out the road there to connect it directly to the train. Excellent. So we can get a line coming from over here. And we can get our high-speed line going this way, too. All right, well, at this point, now that Hanoi is about to be connected, I want to try to test our line and see how it looks before we've got everything done. So let's try to buy a Shinkansen now and see what we can do with it. Oh, did we build that out of stone? Oh, that's okay. Although I prefer the concrete. There we go. I think we went up a little too high. Let's back that up. Wow, that music right now. An absolute champion. Listen to that guitar solo. Loving it. Alright, how's our elevation looking? That looks pretty good. Alright, all the way to our station. Looks like it lays down before there. Now for the Shinkansen, we don't want any roads. There should be no intersections like that. So we'll eventually correct that and make it perfect afterwards. Okay, let's connect our train now. So scoot our depot out of the way. This is a little bit of a test. I've never really built a train like this before in this game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it'll connect. So let's go towards the train depot, buildings, and let's lay our first train down. Hopefully it gets a lot of passengers. Okay, let's go for the connection. High-speed tracks this way. Oh. Game seems to have a little trouble in finding like a connection for it. I guess it built the building flat, so it's going to have a little trouble getting through there. Let's try to build the track in reverse then. There we go. We'll build our depot here then. There we go. That's a little better. All right, time for the Shinkansen. So let's purchase this bad boy. $47 million. That is a hefty, that's a big O hefty. I wonder if we can adjust the length for that too. Okay, let's go for a new line. So line number 1 will go from our main city to our middle city to our final city, but we'll connect it a little further later. I just want to see it running. I'm impatient. I want to see the goods. Okay, now we'll unpause and assign our train to that line. Line 1, here we go. All right, let's see it roll. Don't be shy. Oh, there he is. Careful, they're endangered in the wild. Don't spook it. It'll take off really fast. All right, so what we'll need to do is lower some of the terrain and use some of the terrain modding tools in order to perfect it and make it look better. But I love these modern-looking stations. This looks great. I love this. Well, let's watch it pull up and do all the things that it does. Wow, it even says the name of the town right there. Look at that. Taipei right there on the station. Very nice. That is one long train. That is amazing. Look at that thing. That's my favorite. So with the capability of doing 220 kilometers an hour, this train should be able to maintain that speed for most of the track. Look at that. That is just beautiful. And we haven't done much yet. Look at that. That's just gorgeous. I want to be able to modify the train now. I hope the terrain tools allow me to add and subtract water if I don't want it. Can I add water? Or land? Oh, looks like I can. Cool. Alright, so in the future we'll be able to add little bays and things like that. The train is currently traveling at 150. It takes a while to get up to full speed, so that's why those long straightaways are very important. Alright, we have to ride that train. We'll ride it as soon as it reaches its next destination, or when it comes out of the tunnel. So that's great. So we can make tunnels look a little less cramped by lowering some of the terrain. I don't know if these terrain editor tools were around from before, but to me they feel new. Here comes the train. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and hop on board. Gorgeous. Even the man operating it has a big smile on his face. So we can add a lot more trees, a lot more mountains and such to the track to make it look like there's a reason for the elevation like that. And now the train's going to come on down to a stop. Anybody on these trains? Is there anybody on that one? Nope. 160 passengers, though, can be on board. So when you've got stations really intricately connected, if you have kind of domestic trains and international trains, you know, domestic meaning like maybe between two towns, and then, of course, if you have a bus service, it's going to bring a lot of people in. Not to mention if you have your Shinkansen near a airport, that's going to bring in a ton of people. And this will allow us to decorate a lot more. So if we go back to the terrain mode, if we click on assets, we can just start planting trees like crazy. And we can really make it look a lot better. And it even tells you what they are. So it's not just like rock number 4. It actually tells you that it's made of granite. So if you wanted to have limestone rocks, or if you wanted to have a fence network, it seems to be pretty easy to set that up, including benches too. Very romantic to sit on that bench and watch the Shinkansen go by. So this train is barely able to reach its top speed. You can see the town actually just built a road too. So these towns, the more things that you deliver to them, the faster that they'll grow. Oh, look at that. That is cool. So it'll be really neat if I was able to get rice paddies or something underneath here rather than these generic. These look like European farm fields, but if we get a lot of rice fields or something like that, just kind of these open areas with pits and water in them, that'll look really appropriate for the train at least. All right, let's watch it come by. This is going to be gorgeous. Is there a way to hide the UI? There must be, but let's just watch the train come by. That is amazing. So if you are a train buff who really likes building like model train sets and such, you could probably scratch your itch here without having to make a big mess and recreating your town or whatnot. If there's abilities to make town, yeah, town builder, here you go. We can actually make a town. So if we want to, can we actually expand onto this? If I click here. Wow, it just made a bigger city here. That's amazing. Fukuoka now, but we can actually call this like, we call this Tokyo Center, Tokyo West. We can actually make it look like an even bigger city. So if we want to make everything look more, oh wow. If we want to make things look more populated, especially for the train, oh that looks beautiful. So now we can add a bunch of like farms and things next to the train, and it'll look more appropriate as it has a lot more to drive by. Now, unfortunately, it looks like these towns are all separated, but the train will supply all those towns, so that's totally fine. And again, we can call it like, we can call it Akihabara, Tokyo West, Tokyo Central, North, whatever we want to do to make it look like it's one town. And of course, fix things like these train crossings. You certainly wouldn't want a train crossing over the Shinkansen line. That would spell trouble, especially at 200 and something kilometers an hour. Absolutely beautiful. How many people are waiting here? 12. Good. All right, now we can start working with things like airports, and that is actually really nice. We could start the map with no towns. We could build a train line first, and then after we built our train, we could build towns to connect to the train. In this game, instead of building train lines that accommodate the towns, you can actually build towns that, once you've set up your train line, can accommodate that. That's beautiful. So with those lessons learned in the editor, man, we got a lot of fun things to learn. So here comes the train again. A little janky on your screen, I've noticed. It's very smooth. For me, rotating around, it's very, very smooth. But I've just noticed for you guys, it looks a little fidgety. I would not expect that if you were to buy this game. If you've seen that fidget inside the videos, that is definitely not, that's not my PC, nor is it the game. It must be something on the recording software end. But regardless, let's check this beautiful train coming by. It seems to go a little better if I smooth scroll. The game has not been fully released yet, so if there's anything that's a mess or not fully functioning, there is a chance that it'll be upgraded by that time. I love that little concrete pattern there going through that. It's very nice. I wonder if you build a high-speed German train or a French train, or if you build a high-speed American train, well, that'll never happen. I wonder if the concrete changes. I wonder if patterns change, or if the rocks of the stone bridges and such change based on the materials available. Like, for example, maybe a granite bridge made out of granite, or some sort of a different stone. Wow, look at that. That train is beautiful. So these are about the appropriate distances for a high-speed train. A little too long for a bus service, a little too short for an aircraft, and probably just fine for a regular train. But a high-speed train might be better connecting Taipei, like for example, one quarter of the map to another. Very nice. Well, we've got much more to do in Train Fever 19. Just kidding. Transport Fever 2, ladies and gentlemen. Our train is pulling into the station. I want to see what happens here as it comes in. Very nice. Let's check over here. Now, I can't wait for mods to come out so that way we can actually have historical train stations that are realistic to what they actually are. Those of like Berlin or New York or whatnot. So that way you can plop down a station that really exists and then connect it to other stations and such and make it look good. Beautiful. Look at her pull in. All right. Well, that is it for our first look of high-speed trains here in Transport Fever 2, available December 11th, 2019, so make sure you pick it up. This was just a super scratch of the surface, just a tiny scratch. So if you guys want to see more, make sure you click or tap that like button and show me your support. I want to play this more, come up with more ideas, and build all sorts of different things. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you click or tap that like button, and of course, make sure you use your blinker. I'll see you all next time. This has been absolutely gorgeous. You take care. I'll see you soon, and have a good one. Bye, everyone.